Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to a new Hell Let Loose video. In this video, I'll be covering a beginner-friendly guide on garrisons in Hell Let Loose. Garrisons and outposts are two of the most important items in the entire game, and being able to use them correctly and actually understand what they do and how you can use them is key when it comes to winning games and actually having fun in the game. With the huge influx in new players in recent weeks, I thought it'd be a great time to release an absolute beginner-friendly guide on garrisons and how they work. I've been playing a lot of the Hell Let Loose official servers in the past few days, and it is full of new players, and the lack of garrisons and outposts is alarming. And some people have had questions about how to place garrisons, why you can't place them in certain areas, what resources that you need, what roles can place them. So I thought now would be a great time just to run through everything there is to know about garrisons so you guys can use those tips on the battlefield. As always, if you do like the video, please like, comment and subscribe. If you don't like the video, that is also fine. Please let me know in the comments what you didn't like, and I can try and change them next time. All criticism is constructive in my book, unless it's just pure abuse, then, you know, fair enough, that's got to be done sometimes. But if you do enjoy, please feel free to let me know in the comments as well. So we'll start off by what is a garrison and what is an outpost. So a garrison is placed down as a team spawn point that your entire team can spawn on. And an outpost is something that your squad can spawn on that will be placed by your squad leader. You can see on the map these two icons here. This indicates a garrison and this indicates an outpost. So we'll start off by who can build a garrison. So a garrison can be constructed by officers, spotters, or the commander only. So if you're playing as a squad leader, you will be able to place down a garrison, or if you're playing as a spotter on the recon team, you will also be able to place one, and the only other role that can place them is a commander. So how do you build a garrison? First of all, you are going to need supplies. Now if you are building a garrison on friendly territory, which is the blue zone, then you will need 50 supplies to build a garrison. This can be from either a supply drop that your commander's called in that has 50 supplies, or supplies that your support player has dropped, or supplies that are driven up via a supply truck. These are the only three ways that you can get the supplies to build a garrison. Should you need the supply drop and you're not the commander, you can ask the commander for a supply drop pending he's got them available, and if there's no supply trucks available, then you can ask the commander to spawn one in or drive some up to you. And if there's a support player within your squad, you can ask them to drop their supplies and you can build using those. To actually build the garrison, you simply need to get your watch out, which will be somewhere on your kit, by scrolling your mouse wheel or using your numbers on your keyboard. Get the watch out and then it will show like the grey box, and once it is available to be placed it will go green, and then you simply hold left click and you will place the garrison down. Do note as well, once you place a garrison down you do get passive XP throughout the game, pending that the garrison stays alive whenever your team spawns on it. Garrisons cannot be placed in neutral territory. This is the amber looking colour on the map when you first start in a warfare game. And if you are building them in the red zone, it will cost you 100 supplies instead of 50 supplies. So do be mindful of that when it comes to trying to put them in enemy grounds. You can only place a garrison in enemy territory up to 2 squares deep, and that's including the offensive point that you are attacking. So if the enemy has the point, the square that the circle's in, and that square behind it, you can only place friendly garrisons in there. Whether in friendly or in offensive territory, you cannot place a garrison within 200 meters of another garrison. So on the map, the big squares represent 200 meters, so each garrison must be at least 1 square away from the previous one. There is a limit of garrisons that you can have on the map, not including your HQ, and that is 8, so you can have a maximum of 8 garrisons down at any given point. It's a good idea to build defensive garrisons and offensive garrisons just in case you get pushed back, but I'll talk more about that in a moment. If there is already 8 and you wish to get rid of one, or you wish to place another one, if you're not playing the commander you need to ask the commander to remove one, and if you are playing commander then you need to either go to the garrison manually and dismantle it, or use one of your abilities in the map and dismantle a garrison using manpower. Now, how to lock and unlock garrisons. So you'll notice on the map sometimes that your garrison has a red exclamation mark above it, and sometimes it may go into a deep red and full coloured red where you cannot spawn on it. This means that the garrison is locked. Now this happens when an enemy is within 15 meters of your garrison. You've got a garrison placed in friendly territory and it goes a deep red and fully locks. That means there is an enemy within 15 meters. If it is just a normal exclamation mark and you can still spawn on it, that means an enemy is within 50 meters of that garrison. This changes when placed in enemy territory to 100 meters. Garrisons within active enemy territory are disabled if an enemy comes within 100 meters. So that's if it's placed in the red zone. You can actually hear garrisons when you play close to them. That's friendly and enemy garrisons, so it's a good way to find the enemy ones. If your garrison is overrun, all you'll hear is static coming from the garrison, whereas if it's not overrun, you'll hear the full voice communications. This goes for when it comes to attacking enemy garrisons as well. If you get close to one, you will be able to hear that the garrison is there, and you will hear the static coming through it, indicating that you are close to a garrison, and you can go and dismantle that. It is key that whenever you find an enemy garrison, you call this out to your team, and if you can, try and dismantle it as quickly as possible. This will stop one of the enemy spawn points and allow your team to get a bit of ground. An enemy garrison will look the exact same as your garrison, other than it will be talking in a different language with the voice comms that come through it, and it won't show as a friendly one on your map. If you go up to the garrison and hold F on keyboard and mouse, you will start to dismantle the garrison. Garrisons can be destroyed in multiple ways, and that is by manually dismantling it by holding F, or if an enemy was to do that to your garrison. If the sector containing the garrison is captured by the enemy forces, or it's within the radius of a satchel, an AT rocket, an AT gun, a bombing run, or a tank shell explosion. Now, when it comes to placing garrisons, it's important that you take note of the map and where the offensive or defensive sectors are. If you stock your defensive point up with garrisons and you lose that point, the square in which the circle is and the square in front of it will go to enemy territory, and it will clear out all your garrisons straight away. That's why I'd recommend placing your garrisons just before the territory line. So if you see on the map here, we have this sector and the garrison is placed just here. If the enemy was to take this offensive point, then the enemy territory would be pushed up to this line, meaning this garrison would be safe. But should it be the other side of the line, if the enemy was to take this territory, then it would clear out the garrison. Now, garrisons in the active sectors only take 5 seconds to dismantle, whereas garrisons that are in locked enemy territory, which is the squares beyond the active capture sector, they take 30 seconds to dismantle. So just be mindful of that if you get behind enemy lines and it seems to be taking a while to dismantle. Garrisons can also not be placed if it's within 100 meters of an active enemy garrison, and you can also not place a garrison if there are enemies nearby. Now, you can tell this because when you go to place the garrison down, it will say enemy too close, and it will grey out the option to build it. Before I move on to outposts, I would just like to emphasise the importance of garrisons. These act as a spawn point for your entire team and can help you facilitate coordinated attacks or defences. It's no good just having one garrison, because if the enemy knows where that is, then you are in trouble if you just keep funneling into them. It's a good idea to have multiple garrisons located around the map. This is in offensive positions, flanks, and more importantly, defensive positions. Because if you get pushed back and then you lose your offensive Garys, you need to be able to have defensive Garys on hand to spawn your team at. So I'll just put a quick example on the screen. As you can see here, we only have one garrison, and it's been like that for quite a while. And you might think that's not too bad because it's in a bad area, but in reality there should be a lot more garrisons. We should really have some looking like this, and that's what the map should look like. Moving on to outposts, we'll keep it quite short and sweet because they act kind of the same as garrisons, other than instead of them being a team spawn point, they are a squad spawn point. Only your squad leader can place these, and spotters, so you must be a squad leader or a spotter to place this. When you place it down as a squad leader, only your squad will be able to spawn on this outpost, and you can only have one active at any given time. So if you was to place a new outpost down, then the old one would be removed from the map. The big difference with garrisons and outposts, apart from the amount of people that can spawn on it, is resources. Outposts do not require any resources to build, and any squad leader could build these at any point with no supplies available. When it comes to dismantling outposts, you don't need to do anything to dismantle them. You just need to run within 10 meters of an enemy outpost. So there'll be times that you're running through a bush and it'll just say that you've destroyed an enemy outpost. That's because there's one within 10 meters of you. So if you know that there's a squad spawn in a certain area and you can see the outpost, all you have to do is run near it and it will destruct it for you. The good thing with outposts is it allows you to just weave in between the lines a bit. If you have a garrison in one square and then one 2 squares away, it's a good idea sometimes to put your outpost in the middle of those in an offensive or defensive position. It just allows you to cover more area on the map, and as mentioned, it is specific to your squad, so it's all about where you want your squad to play. It's often worth communicating with the commander to see where he wants you or she wants you to play, and then it is well worth placing it where it's suggested in order to help the team. I think that is just about everything there is to know as a beginner for garrisons and outposts in Hell Let Loose. Please do let me know if you found this video of any use at all, or if you hated it. Please please also let me know that. I will be doing some more beginner friendly guides in the coming weeks, and I will try and get as many videos out as possible. If there is a certain video or mechanic that you would like to see next, please do let me know in the comments, and have a great day everyone.